Tri-City Sports Now. It's me, Marky Billson, with you, wherever you may be throughout the world. We've got. I'm intrigued because I know that my column that I've put up on Medium about Tristan Retke being a disgrace to the area and really having, I think, an influence possibly in the future for ETSU sports. Because I talked a little bit about the culture that was around in '86, and this is, I think, one of the reasons why ETSU is always so, up. Everything is wonderful here. It continues to be wonderful while we're dropping football and losing 37 games in a row, or what. It doesn't matter. Everything's because they kind of want to. It's kind of nothing. They want to sweep this stuff under the rug. Do you want to tell everyone? Yes, we accepted Tristan Retke. No, you don't. And so you got to have that filter, for some of the spin that comes from Johnson City when they try to sweep the stuff under the rug and all that. Anyway, read what I have to say about it. Just, you can follow me on Facebook, Marky Billson, or what you ought to do is follow me on Medium, Marky Billson, or just go and follow 1420 WEMB Sports Radio on Facebook and like us, and you'll be able to watch the program archived or live on Facebook Live and see how well I dress. And that I really need a haircut. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat right now. Hey, media days, like I said, they are underway in the SEC. And is this the exact time? No, thank goodness. That I almost thought for a second. About 1 o'clock every day, it seems like our internet goes out. So just, for a little bit of time and all this. But anyway, we're talking a little bit about we got Will Muschamp, Chad Morris, and Joe Morehead. So two teams that will play Tennessee this year. I mentioned Muschamp, and he had a lot to say. One of the interesting things is that South Carolina, they got the toughest schedule in the country this year. They've got to play Alabama early on in the year. And, this is what Muschamp says about the Crimson Tide and the mighty challenge that the Gamecocks will face. By the way, Gamecocks did defeat Alabama in 2009. Saban was there then, as well as 2002.
As far as beating Alabama, you got to go beat Alabama. They're not going to beat themselves. They're very well coached. They've got really good players. They're going to attack you in all three phases, and that's how you've got to approach that game. As far as beating that football team. Nick's done a fantastic job. He's the best football coach in college football history. The consistency that he has maintained at Alabama is pretty phenomenal. In this league is very difficult. And but you got to go beat Alabama. You can't hope and wish something's going to happen. You got to go beat them.
Wow. Best coach in college football history. Well, nobody's going to want to say that it's, Joe Paterno anymore. Talk about Newt Rockne developing the forward pass, but didn't he really do that as a player more? At least that's what they said, Newt Rockne All-American, right? Pat Leahy won a lot. I really like Eddie Robinson. If you ask me, I might choose him. I think I would, as a matter of fact. Bobby Bowden, who's been on the show, that would be one. But yeah, the dynasty, and then Bear Bryant. Wait a minute. How do you exceed Bear Bryant at Alabama? But yeah, Saban may have done that. I will tell you that Will Muschamp, remember, he did say, no, we don't want to be a little brother, all this, we're not. I didn't think he handled the question very well, in that he should have explained why South Carolina was not totally inferior to Clemson. And all he had to do is go back a couple of years. Of course, it was before he got there. That's the problem. But it shows that it's possible. Muschamp did, however, say that, yes, after winning 9 games in 2017 and then regressing to only 7 last year, they're not where they want to be, are the South Carolina Gamecocks.
As far as where our program is, it's not where we want to be. I can assure you of that. Our goal every year is to win the East, which gives you an opportunity to play in Atlanta. And if you win in Atlanta, it gives you an opportunity to play in the college football playoff, in my opinion, and to win our state. And we haven't done either one in 3 years. And so that's something we've got to be able to accomplish. And that goal is not going to change regardless of the situation or the circumstances. at our school. We're striving to win a championship at South Carolina.
All right. He says he's looking forward to the tough schedule. They open up with North Carolina, which might not be as tough as you might think, but then again, Mac Brown is there now, so I don't know. Steve Sperry, that 3-9 year in 2015, Gamecocks opened up with North Carolina, and remember, North Carolina only lost, I believe it was one game in the regular season. Yes, it was that opener to South Carolina, so there you go. I mean, but regardless, Will Muschamp says, yes, I'm looking forward to playing college football's toughest schedule this year.
I know people are going to ask me about the schedule. Hell, the schedule is hard every year. That's the way I look at it. And we got a great opportunity for ourselves to take a step forward as a program, to be in the limelight on most Saturdays in the Southeastern Conference and take advantage of these opportunities we've got in front of us, because we've, in my opinion, got our best team coming back at South Carolina since I've been there, and we're looking forward to that opportunity.
Why couldn't he say that and be as articulate there? So when someone asks you, are you Clemson's little brother? What? I mean, like I said, there's so many, I mentioned before. I said, of course not. We're in the state capital. They're the Hicks from the Sticks. Give me a break. Yeah, they've had a couple of good years. I understand that. Sure. And all that, don't count us out. We're in the SEC. All right? You just, that's what you say. We've got a more consistent fan base than they do. All these things you say are true. And he said, no, we're not. That's all he does. What about the investment in the... I'll tell you this, if Clemson can do it, why not South Carolina? And there's what Will Muschamp has to say about that.
I am proud of some of the accomplishments.
Well, he actually says a lot more than that. Well, what happens is that the world's slowest computer sometimes also doesn't like what Will Muschamp has to say. I'm going to force it down the computer's throat.
I am proud of some of the accomplishments, especially, on both on and off the field. Some things we're doing academically, the things we're doing from a facility standpoint that enable you to have a championship program, because they work hand in hand. When you invest, kids see that, parents see that, and it excites them to be a part of something like that, and it's changed the landscape for us from a recruiting standpoint. But we've got to continue to work and push the needle forward. I love the things we're going to do for the stadium, and obviously I'm excited about this team and where we are right now. But as Coach Spurrier would say, it's talking season right now. You got to go play and play that way. And we need to have a good training camp and leading into the season. But I feel good about the things that we've accomplished, but certainly nowhere where we want to be.
Well, again, you couldn't give an answer like that to, are you, Clemson's little brother? It boggles the mind. He's got those, and that he could not give. I guess that's why Muschamp, highlights. Sure, he's had him in his career, but it always seems he comes up short, huh? The same could be said about Mississippi State, talking about teams that Tennessee is going to play this year in Neyland Stadium, as a matter of fact. Mississippi State, let's see here. Joe Morehead is the coach there. They got Bob Shoop, the old Tennessee defensive coordinator there as well. He's trying to keep expectations low. Think about this.
We stood here last year and we were picked to finish third in the conference. We finished fourth, and if Texas A&M hadn't beat LSU, we would have been third. We were picked to finish 18th in the AP poll, and our college football playoff ranking was 16. And ESPN puts out the over/under stuff, and it was 8.5, and we had 8. So I think me kind of doing some of those things early on may not have been fair to the guys, because anything that we did may not have been good enough. So that's one thing that I learned, that I probably should have researched a little bit more into our team, who we were, and what we were capable of doing from a historical context before I started talking about ring sizes and other things like that.
This is one of the things I think could bring down the SEC. You heard me. It seems unfathomable. I get that, but there's all this talk of history and all that. Why will Tennessee be great again? Because they were in the 1990s. Well, ask Duke about that. It doesn't necessarily... A lot has changed. The money's evened up. The revenues... It's about TV. Not that you have 100,000 seats anymore, among other things. And so the idea that, well, Mississippi State used to always lose, and I should know the history of the program, especially after he just mentioned how competitive the Bulldogs were last year. But I thought I should have researched history before I started ring sizes and all that. I don't know. Of course, ring size, talking about that, a little cocky. Yeah, ring size is about, that is a little bit cocky. And not in a South Carolina way. Not in a Mississippi State Bulldogs way. You think about the Bulldogs, you think about defense, even if Dak Prescott was the quarterback there for a long, led to a number 1 ranking once, didn't he? Hey, that's the more recent history. I would submit to you that history, that Mississippi State in this decade was number 1, means more than, let's just say, Tennessee winning a national championship in 1998. Mississippi winning a national championship in 1960 in some polls. Arkansas winning one in 64. I mean, that becomes, Yale in the 19th century was really good. Recruits, yes, when I was a kid, I knew college football history. That's why I became a sports talk show host and not a football player. So there you go. We have a phone call, but I'm going to ask them to stay on hold here for just a bit, if we could. Anyhow, and that might be our surprise guest here. But anyway, let's go and we will talk here a little bit with Joe Morehead. And, you think about Mississippi State, like I said, you think about defense, but what are the challenges on offense? Hey, they got to score some points, right?
I think our biggest challenge for the offense this year will be our ability to balance out the run and the pass game. I think we were second in the SEC in rushing last year, averaged roughly 225